If you're a targeted individual, you already know how it works. If not, I'll explain it really quick. They're trying to create events. Now you have communities who actually organize gang stalking communities. An algorithm will play on your phone that induces paranoia. They've used the U.S. Patriot Act. So it makes it look like somebody's watching you, because for some reason, the more frequent occurrences that make it look that way pop up. So I always tell people, you have to understand who you are and that you were falsely put on this list. So inside of you is the love frequency. And that just means forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. When you go out in public and they're performing street theater, or they're saying phrases around you designed to upset you on purpose, en masse, a frequent, reoccurring event. Same way they do to your child in school. Same way they hurt mine. Same way they're trying to cover it up. If you understand what's actually happening, and that these people don't, because they're being used to destroy themselves, to create more events, not just move people around like they think. Because when you look on the news and you see mass stabbings, mass shootings, all of it is by design. When you see somebody in Connecticut burning down an apartment building because witches were inside, all of it by design. These people are only hearing voices because they're using algorithms and V2K to stimulate them. You're talking about people who work without any oversight to create national change. So your street takeovers, you see them on the news. Million minority kids in cars surround old man and beat him. Take over parking lot. Meet together at the end of your street and everybody's like, ooh, they're blowing donuts. It happened in Thailand near me, and they intimidated a woman on purpose to try to get them to move. All of that is actually coordinated. And if you understand that, you realize who's behind it. So you have groups of people who are actually operating, period. And a lot of them have government phones or are in contact or in poor areas, and they're being exploited. Now, because it's compartmentalized and there is other technology involved, you have to understand that these kids are being prompted to go do these things and act a certain way, and they're getting away with it en masse in those events because it's actually organized. You're looking at an operation, and it's to create unrest or give you the visual that you need to say, yep, that's unrest. And the reason they're doing that is for policy change, to bring in a totalitarian state, to bring in the new world order, to make things the way they want. So they're using everyone who's destitute against each other. But it's not just there. So yeah, they target the lower end of society. They target people who are previous felons. They target ex-drug addicts. They target homeless people. But they target whistleblowers. They target white Christians. They target black Christians. They target school teachers. They target police officers. They target state troopers. They target motorcycle gangs. They target white supremacists. And they target black groups. But it's all leading towards the same exact thing. And everybody doesn't realize there's an algorithm in place beyond your targeting operations that's creating all of it. And it's being worked by what I call puppet masters. The masters of the universe, okay? People who are really in charge. The big companies who own all the little companies. And everything's just compartmentalized. So, because they're abusing the Patriot Act, I don't do anything wrong. I'm a fucking Boy Scout and have been since I got my life together over 7 years ago. But you, if you're not, if you're into doing anything wrong, it's a setup on purpose. And they're only going to allow you to do it to a certain point because you're really talking about mass surveillance. That's what you're talking about. So everyone's being surveilled, which is really troubling because you realize the real crimes are being done by cartels and larger groups of people affiliated with companies like the CIA. So it's that big, you know, but it's all about control, mind control, and policy change. I always knew this election this year was going to be one of the biggest moments and turning points in human history. I just knew it in my heart all along. And I'll say it again. I'm sorry if I've offended you and you're a Trump supporter. I'm sorry if I offended you and you're a Biden supporter. Because I don't support any political party. Only because I can say wholeheartedly no one ever supported me. Yeah, I'm proof that you can change your life. You can try to do the right thing and help out your entire community. You can have nothing but love in your heart. And this chaos algorithm and the people behind it will try to destroy you. Because they're not thinking about any individual at all. And they're separating people so none of us think about each other. So no one has any empathy. If you understand to approach every day with love, you can make it through situations. But I'll give you an example. Like, I got attacked when I went over one of my friend's houses recently. And because he does not grasp what's actually happening, he just can't wrap his head around it because other people fill his head full of nonsense. He doesn't realize the scope of the operation or how big it is. But I've learned that if you go somewhere, like me, because they do it situationally now, because I've made it through all the other hard parts of the operation, it's just a long game now. Whenever you try to do something for yourself that's going to benefit you, somebody will be tapped. And the next thing you know, you go to a location, you don't know why, it's set up the way it is, and they stimulate a narrative by repeating something either from your morning, your day, just to let you know that they're there and they're watching, and there's nothing you can do because they're going to interrupt anything you try to do to benefit your own life. But it's all part of the same operation, you know? So the best thing you can do in those situations is just grab your stuff and go. Not because you're crazy. You can feel the amperage in the room. You know, if you stay in that location, it's not going to get better because everything's designed to create an event to try to set you off. So most targets know the safest place is their home, even though they can be targeted repeatedly in their home. When you go out in public right now, anyone, you're taking your own life in your hands, because I've had every kind of operation you could possibly imagine run on me. But groups don't realize that they're destroying their own communities, promised a better community, but all they're doing is changing policy so the entire United States is under complete control by, most likely, a foreign power. And that's it. They got Americans to hate Americans. They got Americans to stalk Americans. They test electronic equipment on them, and nobody seems to understand that we're all going to lose America together. It's not going to end up the way you think it's going to end up, no matter who you vote for.